New York State continues the push to redefine conceal carry laws. And a new element of this involves digging into the social media accounts of people who apply. Investigative reporter Mary Keeler is in the studio with new details on our continuing coverage.
Yeah, Michael, both the Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick and an expert from John Jay College in New York City say tonight there are some major hang-ups when it comes to this part of New York's new law. Fitzpatrick tonight calling it, quote, unenforceable. Anyone who wants to apply for a license to carry a concealed weapon in New York State will have to hand over access to their social media accounts. That starts September 1st.
I thought it was somebody pranking me, but sadly, it's true.
Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick says he and other leaders in law enforcement were not included in discussions about this law. And his biggest worry, how to enforce it.
You know how much money was allocated to the sheriff's departments in the state of New York to enforce this and the state police? Not a dime.
John Jay College Associate Professor Adam Scott Want says he can see where state leaders are coming from in response to signs allegedly missed from mass shooting suspects on social media platforms. But this law might not be practical.
They'll need money, they'll need training, they'll need ways of enforcing the new law, and that's something that should always be taken into account by the legislature.
And they'll need people to do research on all the accounts that come in. DA Fitzpatrick saying he'll meet with police departments and the sheriff's office in the coming weeks to figure out what they can do, but it could be nothing.
People are being shot out there, and I'm sitting here in an office reading about your trip to Disney World. It's unbelievable, the lack of thought and foresight.
Professor Want says the weeks and months after the September start date will be telling. He says pushback could potentially make its way to the Supreme Court.
There's no doubt in my mind that there will be challenges in the near future to this new law. Whether or not they're successful is a whole other story.
And I did reach out to the Senate, Assembly, and the governor's office today to ask if they're planning to distribute any resources or funding to help agencies across the state enforce this. I have not yet heard back.
Our team coverage continues now with investigative reporter Connor White. He's live for us in Syracuse tonight. Connor?
Megan and Matt, the Syracuse Housing Authority says that there are still 10 units at the Vinette Towers that are uninhabitable, 3 taking damage directly from the explosion and others taking on water damage from sprinklers and fire hoses. Again, all of this coming from someone tinkering with equipment to make fireworks in their apartment. It's something that responding agencies say they haven't seen before in the city of Syracuse. Saturday night, Syracuse fire crews arrived for a run-of-the-mill alarm check at Vinette Towers.
We're getting a report that there's walls that are caved in and people are hurt.
Instead, finding the aftermath of an explosion on the 6th floor.
There's fire in the building, in the apartment, and they had to go and search with no sight because there's so much smoke, and they had to remove that person and bring them downstairs to the awaiting paramedics.
That man is 38-year-old Scott Dimond. A witness told police in an affidavit that Dimond was testing homemade firework materials, lighting small samples of mixed powders together on fire, ultimately causing an explosion in his 6th floor apartment, injuring Dimond, the witness, and a second victim. The witness writing, Dimond makes fireworks, but it went bad.
The call is almost a once-in-a-career call where somebody is mixing substances, saying that it's going to be utilized for fireworks. And then he miscalculated whatever he was mixing together to cause an explosion.
Chief Mond's not the only one surprised by the details.
No, this is the first in the 16 years that I've been here at Syracuse Housing Authority.
Bill Simmons is the executive director of the Syracuse Housing Authority, which owns the building on Pond Street. He says he got the call about the incident late on Saturday night.
Naturally, you think of the worst.
At the time, the city deemed 40 units uninhabitable. Simmons says they got most of them back online within 24 hours, with 10 still damaged, with the walls collapsed around the unit where the explosion went off.
In terms of those apartments who on the 6th floor that might have been a part of the explosion, it'll be months and months before we get those units back online.
Simmons is expecting insurance to cover most of the damage still inside the building, now waiting for tenants to submit claims over possible personal items that may be damaged or now totally destroyed. Syracuse police confirming tonight that for the time being, they have no reason to believe that this explosion came from anything other than an intent to make homemade fireworks.